Welcome to Lesson 3 of the Peace First Digital Mentor Training. At this point, you should be familiar with the history and mission of Peace First, the steps of a peacemaking project, and the basic tenets of youth development. In this lesson, we are going to turn our focus more specifically to mentoring during the Peace First Challenge. We will begin by looking at the role of all mentors in the Peace First Challenge community. Following that, we will talk about the differences between mentoring as a community Sherpa and mentoring as a project coach. We will talk a little about the functionality of the Peace First Challenge digital platform, and we will discuss the cycle of your mentoring relationship. As always, following this lesson, you will find discussion activities. Start preparing yourself for those activities by continuing to think about your peacemaking journey, your injustice and compassionate insight, and asking yourself why you want to mentor with Peace First. Often, when we think of mentoring programs, a model such as Big Brothers Big Sisters comes to mind. Youth and mentors are matched one-on-one and meet once or twice a month for a couple of hours. Mentors with Big Brothers Big Sisters and mentors with Peace First have a couple of things in common. Ideal mentors are communicative, they're flexible, and they're patient. There are always unknowns when working with young people. Schedules change, plans get broken, issues arise. Good mentors are able to maintain a cool head while addressing these changing circumstances. Despite the similarities, there are a couple major differences when mentoring with Peace First. A mentor with Peace First must be comfortable communicating with their mentees exclusively online. Reliable, regular internet access is crucial. And while other mentoring programs are generally on board for skill development and empowering young people, a Peace First mentor is specifically and strategically committed to leadership development and to the power of young people to change the world. You are in the early stages of becoming a Peace First mentor. After completing all 4 training modules, you'll be invited to fill out a mentor application. The Peace First team will review applicants and screen potential mentors. Successful applicants are invited to serve in 1 or 2 mentor roles. The time commitment for Peace First mentors is the same, regardless of your particular role. To mentor with Peace First, you have to make a 1-year commitment. For ongoing mentoring support, you will view quarterly training webinars and regularly participate in an online mentor-only discussion group. As you begin working with youth, you are expected to spend a minimum of 2 hours each week engaged in online mentoring activities, logging in at least 4 times a week for a minimum of 30 minutes each session. Beyond that, you will need to log in at least once every 48 hours and respond to direct youth inquiries within 24 hours. Additionally, you will also complete periodic program surveys and evaluations. All Peace First mentors will begin their mentoring journey as community Sherpas. The primary function of a community Sherpa is to engage youth in the community. Sherpas will be instrumental in guiding youth through site registration and into active membership. Sherpas will provide support to youth as they choose an injustice, as they navigate the website and resources, and they will generally support youth's time in the Peace First community. Once your application is approved and you become a community Sherpa, a green dot with a white M in the center will appear on your site avatar. As you begin your time in the Peace First Challenge digital platform as a community Sherpa, spend time exploring and commenting on multiple projects. To give you an idea of ways to engage youth while mentoring as a community Sherpa, we can turn to Raul, a member of the Peace First team. Currently, Raul is asking youth questions about their injustices, trying to provide focus to big picture issues. In one interaction, Raul talks with a youth who is addressing overcrowded animal shelters. He starts by asking the young person to delve deeper into their injustice. From that point, he suggests ways for the young person to continue to explore the injustice and begin working towards a compassionate insight. He also steers the young person towards Peace First tools that might be useful in their research. Once a young person develops a peacemaking project, they have an opportunity to request a project coach who will support them for the duration of the project or for at least 1 year. Community Sherpas, as they work in the site, can check out projects that are requesting a coach. Based on their time and interest, community Sherpas may decide to apply to become a project coach. Once a community Sherpa has applied and been accepted as a project coach, it's their responsibility to direct the match initiation. To initiate a match, sign on as a collaborator of the group's project and post a thank you message on their project page and let them know you are excited to be their mentor. In the following week, review your youth's profiles and their project page. Conduct additional research on the platform and outside the platform to better understand the project. As you interact with your team, ask them how they've explored the Understand tools to get a better understanding of the injustice they are addressing. You will also complete an initial program survey. While, as a project coach, you are responsible for match initiation, you are not expected to commit every step to memory. Project coaches will receive updates and email reminders about match initiation steps and other pertinent information from the Peace First team. As previously mentioned, one of the first steps that you will take as a project coach is to become a collaborator on the project you matched with. Take, for example, project Violence Affects 1 in 3 Women and 1 in 4 Men Around the World. The homepage for this project, and every project, has 5 tabs: Overview, Updates, Idea Storms, Solutions, and Collaborators. For this project, we see that there are 11 collaborators. Raul is one of them. This project has also hosted a handful of idea storms. On the screen is a snapshot of one of those idea storms. The group generated insights and solutions to the prompt, "Teach people how to code solutions to violence." Raul encouraged them to add more detail to this idea. There is a common cycle in every mentoring relationship that is not greatly affected by the length of the mentoring relationship, at least once that length clears the recommended 12-month mark. Mentees and mentors go through stages of getting to know one another, building trust, and growing together. The Peace First mentoring relationship will be no different. However, because of the time-sensitive goals of the Peace First Challenge, there are other cycle steps to keep in mind as your relationship develops naturally. As we discussed, the first week of your Peace First mentoring match will be devoted to match initiation, introducing yourself, understanding your group's injustice, and pointing them to pertinent tools and resources. After that first week and before the end of the first month, it will be important for your team to post their Compassionate Insights statement. Once their statement is posted, comment on it and encourage others to comment as well. During the second month, you will encourage your team to explore the plan tools and to create action steps for their project. This might look like posts to the Idea Storms and Solutions section of their project page. As they post, comment on the steps your team creates and encourage further exploration through questions you might ask them. Explore the site and content expert bank to see who else your team might be interested in connecting with for ideas and inspiration. Suggest that your team check those resources out. Depending on the research and planning pace of your team, they may be ready to take action in month 3. Congratulate them. Encourage them to use the ACT tools to track their progress and make sure they're staying safe while carrying out their project. Continue to engage the wider Peace First community by keeping an eye out for other content experts your team may want to connect with. Look for resources within and outside of the site for your team to explore. During months 4 through 6, continue to support, celebrate, and encourage your team as they carry out their project. It is during this time that you will also complete the mid-year program survey. Months 7, 8, and 9 will see continued support, encouragement, and celebration. Make sure all participants are staying both safe and on track with tools from the Plan and ACT categories of the toolkit. By months 10, 11, and 12, your team may be coming near the end of their project. Encourage them to explore the Reflect tools and to guide themselves through both individual and team reflections. Also encourage your team to think about how they can celebrate and thank people who helped in their project. Ask your team how they will share their story. Be sure to share and celebrate both within and outside of the Peace First Challenge site. At this time, you will complete the year-end surveys. However, if during reflection activities your team decides that there are more steps that they need to complete before finishing their project, that's normal too. Continue to use the reflection and planning tools to help your team reorient and continue to make progress. After your group's project is complete, you will be invited to continue mentoring in the Peace First Challenge community. Before we end this lesson, let's take a look at 2 live projects and the ways that community Sherpas have provided feedback and guidance to youth. The first project is titled Online Bullying. It Ends With You, and was started by a young woman who was harassed in an online gaming community. She aims to put an end to online bullying by bringing her community together to play video games without using hurtful language. She begins her idea storm by asking for help finding donors. Raul answers her questions in a timely manner. He makes suggestions about adding detail to her overall project plan. He ends the exchange by reminding her that there are other Peace First resources for her to use as well. The second active project addresses self-esteem problems faced by teens and preteens in the foster care system. This project is still working on idea storms and insights. On the screen, you'll see community Sherpas engaging with the project and urging the project creator to think critically about the causes and effects of his chosen injustice. Lesson 3 had a lot of details. We discussed the general role of a Peace First mentor before breaking it down into community Sherpa and project coach roles. We discussed how the site will serve as the vehicle for your mentoring. We rounded it out with a walk through the cycle of a mentoring relationship. And now we will look at your peacemaking journey and this lesson's discussion activities. At the beginning of this lesson, we ask that you think about what's inspiring you to mentor with Peace First. In this first Lesson 3 discussion activity, share your answer. The rest of the discussion activities in this lesson involve you planning and carrying out a solution to your injustice. We'll be revisiting the Plan and Act toolkit activities for guidance. There will be space in the discussion activities section of this lesson for you to share and collaborate as you plan a solution. A brief reminder about the tools you'll be using in this lesson. Under the Plan step, you will find SMART goals, head, heart, hands, and feet, planning and budgeting, and reducing risk. Under the ACT step, you will find tracking your progress and staying safe. Have questions about this lesson or the Peace First Challenge? Reach out to a member of the Peace First team at pfchallenge@peacefirst.org.